are you this week? So glad to be back. Yeah, we are talking all things perimenopause. And today's a really fun episode because we're going to be talking about helpful mindset shifts in perimenopause. And the thing that I just want to say, up front is that in perimenopause, the hormonal shifts that are happening, are potentially causing things like low energy, low mood. Studies show potentially more anxiety. Okay, so a lot of times when these things are happening, I can tell you that I've always struggled a little bit with anxiety. And then when I hit about 40, 41, it really started becoming more significant. And I didn't know if it was because of circumstances that I wasn't managing or something else. And now what I realize is that I do believe that the hormone shifts absolutely I saw a difference in my anxiety. And so, things feel really good right now. I'm in a really good spot with it. I did notice it though, okay? And so what I want to put out there is that mood does change when our hormones change. Okay, energy changes when our hormones change. We talked about in episode 1, our bodies change when hormones change. And so what I want to talk about now is really the mindset shifts that we really can use to our advantage as we're working through this change, right? It's this change that, starts pretty early, I would say. I mean, in general, I think a 40-year-old's pretty young, and already, we're having to definitely manage these really big changes. Okay, so with that being said, one of the things that I will tell you that I've experienced and also I hear all the time from my clients is this idea that things are only going to get harder. I hear this a lot. And the reality is that will things get harder? Well, if we're trying to get the same results that we've always gotten doing the same things, then yes, it will be a lot harder. What I want to offer as a mindset shift is that it doesn't have to be harder. Things just have to be done differently. Okay, so let me give you an example. So back in the day, maybe you used to work out 5 times a week, 6 times a week. Okay, in perimenopause, that actually could be a little bit too much. It could cause excess stress on the body. And we talked a little bit about, cortisol, stress on the body, cortisol. And I will tell you that when I was a lot younger, working out 6 days a week, it didn't even affect me. I mean, that was like just typical. If I tried to do that now, the recovery is a lot harder. Okay, my body is a lot more stressed. I can tell. And the reason why I can tell is that my hunger gets completely out of control. Okay, when I am over exercising, and I'm not going to say it's because I'm burning so many calories and that's why I need so much more food. It's really not that because, a lot of the times the workouts I'm doing, they aren't, having a significant calorie burn. Now, granted, there could be a bigger afterburn effect, but the amount of hunger that I have in relation to that is just, it doesn't really add up. And I believe that this hunger actually comes from this really enhanced stress response, okay? Because my body is getting more stressed, doing things that used to be okay, and just now they're harder because they are the things I used to always do, and they're just not the things that maybe right now are gonna help my body the most. And so when you hear about the zone 2 training, so there's a lot of different people who are doing a lot of work with longevity. And they talk about how zone 2 training is the way to go. And basically, it's where you are moving, but your heart rate's at a lower level. You could do it for a very long time. So walking, okay? And this is what I'll tell you, is that my body has no interest in long distance running. It has no interest. It has interest in walking a long distance, sure. And it's because of how I feel. I feel differently. If I were to run 5 miles, my body would be stressed out. If I were to walk 5 miles, my body would probably be very relaxed. In fact, when we were in Disney, I was on my maybe 20,000th step of the day, and my Aura ring was reporting my lowest stress levels ever. Okay? It was so interesting. And so what we need to think about is how we used to do things aren't going to work the same way as they did then, right? We have to come up with what is the current goal, okay? And we really have to think about that. So what the current goal is, you have to not only acknowledge that, but also make sure it's realistic. And given where you are right now, what needs to happen? Okay, so let me give you another good example. So let's say your goal is to gain muscle mass, okay? And you're now in perimenopause. Well, back in the day, to gain muscle mass, you would eat 4 servings of protein, you would strength train, 4 days a week, and you would basically just watch the results happen, okay? Let's say now your goal, as you're in perimenopause, is to gain muscle. And you decide that you're going to do what you did when you were 18. So you lift weights 4 days a week, and you're going to eat 4 servings of protein, and you're going to watch the muscle just kind of add on. And the reality is that you won't lose muscle, most likely, but it's not going to be as easy to gain the muscle mass. Okay, so what do we do differently? Okay, there's a lot of things we can do differently. So there may need to be some degree of extra recovery. There may be some degree of supplementation. Okay, so creatine, I just did an episode on this. We know that this really helps, maintain and or gain muscle mass. So this might be something we need to add. I have to tell you, I never took creatine in my entire life, ever. And now at the age of 44, I became very interested because of its ability to help with lean muscle mass gain. And so I started taking it. And then I, researched it more, and we're seeing that there's cognitive benefits of it. There's a lot of different benefits from creatine. And it is probably going to be one of the most popular supplements that women in perimenopause are going to start taking, right? Because it addresses brain health, okay? It addresses brain fog. It addresses muscle mass loss. It addresses energy. Okay, there's a lot of different things that it addresses. And so let's say I wanted to gain muscle mass now. I'm probably going to need a little bit of that creatine. I'm definitely going to need probably more than 4 servings of protein. I'm going to probably have to eat in more of a surplus. My strength training is going to have to be very specific, okay? And I can't overdo it. All right, because the minute you overdo something and you put stress on your body and you have a higher stress response, okay, cortisol comes into play. And about 30% of the population actually has an increased stress response, and increases in cortisol are going to be more than the average bear. If that happens, then the ability for insulin to uptake glucose into the cells doesn't work as well when there's high cortisol levels, okay? And so then what happens? Well, the muscle cells don't have as much energy. Okay, so it's going to be harder for them to be able to not only work, but also build back. Okay, so there's a lot of things at play here. So mindset shift number 1 is meeting yourself where you are right now, deciding a realistic goal, and making the changes that you need to make to actually meet that goal. Okay, and I think that that's a really powerful shift. That's a big shift. Okay, so really number 2 is more important than ever. Okay. For so long, I'll tell you, women, we go back and forth between, having all these friendships to having groups of friends to, kind of being more of a loner for a while. And I will tell you right now, it's the idea that community is extremely important. Okay. And so the mindset shift is I can ask for help. I can ask for help in the supportive community that I am involved in. It's really important that we start to acknowledge that this is helpful for us, okay? If you think about the idea that we help someone and we want to help someone and they also want to help us, and it goes back and forth, there's just this beautiful camaraderie that develops, okay? And the other thing too, as we age, we start to have more concerns about things. So having people that have your back and are able to support you no matter what, that is absolutely priceless, particularly in this time period. There's going to be things happening where your body is changing, your thoughts are changing, life circumstances are going to be changing. Okay, having a community and being able to ask for help within that community, priceless. Okay, so the mindset shift truly has to be, I can and I will ask for help. And that's going to actually really, really help me. Okay? And I think that it's one of the shifts that I've seen for myself. It would be rare that I would ever ask for help. And then more recently, I've just been calling on the people that it feels very authentic to ask them for help. Okay. And it's funny because when I think about, gratitude and I think about how grateful I am, visions of them come to mind for me. Okay. So I want to put it out there because when I was in Greece, we would do workouts every morning and it was such a beautiful community thing. There was about 30 families in our cohort. So it was a group of families, all entrepreneurs, and I would lead the workouts and just such a sense of getting healthy together. And as we were working out, and we were working out on this pier, all the 80-year-olds were in the swimming area, swimming every single morning, okay, together as a community. And when we talk about longevity, there's a lot of, information out there saying that community promotes longevity. And I believe that completely. I believe that. And so I think this is a great opportunity. This is a great time in our lives where we can start thinking that community has to be a top priority, even if we're an introvert, even if we like to isolate. But remember, you get to pick where you put yourself. Okay, you don't have to show up in a community that doesn't align. And maybe that community aligned at one point, and maybe now you've changed and it doesn't align. Okay, so you get to decide where you want to exist. Okay, so that's mindset shift number 2. Okay, all right, how about this next one? Okay, how about, and this comes up a lot, but this idea of it's too late. Okay, I want to tell you that if you look at the most successful entrepreneurs, well, maybe, not the most, but some of the most, a lot of them started their businesses when they were in their mid-40s. Okay, so what I want to say is the mindset shift is it's never too late to do anything that you want to do. If you want to go back to school, it is not too late. Go back to school. If you want to change your career, change your career. If you want to change your name, change your name, right? Now is a great opportunity for you to really decide, what it is that you want and go after that. It is not too late. And so I think not only is the mindset shift, it's not too late, but the best is yet to come. I would tag that on, right? Because if we start thinking that we've already hit our prime, we've already lived the best we're going to live, right? First of all, I don't believe that. Okay, I do believe with age comes wisdom and grace and authenticity and really just a dynamic understanding of who we are and why we're here. Okay, this is where we start kind of diving into, what is my purpose? And, you see a lot of women around this age starting to get more interested in developing the spiritual side of their lives. And, they're doing some really deep connecting on that level because it's never too late. And it's funny, every time I see my mom, she says, you still haven't peaked. Okay, because when I was in high school, I never had any boyfriends ever. And I was like, Mom, I don't have any boyfriends. Nobody likes me. And she'd always say, they like you. You just don't like the ones that like you, right? And then she would say to me, don't worry. You'll wind up with the best one. She would always say that. And then she would say, and you haven't even peaked yet. And she still says it to this date. And I love that. I love the idea that we haven't peaked yet. Okay? And if you think about it this way, we're living longer. Okay, so, the 41 is the new 21. So I think that is really kind of something to really keep in mind. Whatever it is that you want to do now, it's not too late. I was thinking the other day because my dog started running and I started running with her. I was like, I bet you I could run a marathon right now. Okay, I don't want to run a marathon. I'm probably most likely not going to. But the idea is it's not too late if I wanted to. And there's something really powerful about that. Okay, the next thing, nothing has gone wrong. Okay, I really think that's an important mindset shift. So mindset shift number 4, nothing has gone wrong. Okay, so a lot of times we think that we have done things that maybe have not been optimal. And maybe we put ourselves, we start to blame ourselves that we put ourselves in this situation and how could we make it happen, right? And remember, around this age, there's a lot of, life's transitions happening, right? There's a lot of things happening. I have women my age who have kids that are getting married, okay? Now, my kids are not at that age yet, but there's a lot of different things that are potentially happening, okay? And so I think that it's just super important to start to own, what it is that speaks to you right now, okay? And the other thing that I think is also really interesting is that the community that I already talked about, right? Reminding each other that nothing has gone wrong, okay? And you can always change things, right? So it's not too late to change things. Nothing's gone wrong. What is the lesson here? I always like to say that. So, okay, fine. But what is the lesson? What did I learn from this? And what do I want going forward? Okay, so I think really holding on to that, because a lot of times we think, oh, well, if I would have, taken better care of this when I was younger, I wouldn't have this problem now. And now I'm in perimenopause and it's just so much harder and nothing has gone wrong. There is always a lesson. Okay, so I want you to think about what has gone right. Okay, so we're really trying to push our mindset in this era into more of a growth mindset. Okay, and a growth mindset is curiosity. You're leading with curiosity, okay? So I recently injured my knee, and I have to tell you, I didn't do it working out. I did it walking in high heels downstairs and dancing a little bit, okay? And I have an LCL strain, but it became, I have an effusion, and I haven't had this happen before, okay? And, right, I'm also older, and I started to blame myself for dancing in these heels that I had no business wearing, right? And then I realized nothing has gone wrong. The heels looked pretty damn good, right? Nothing has gone wrong. My knee will heal. I'm taking every measure to help it heal, okay? And I can lean in and ask for support and also slow down, okay? Because right now I'm, supposed to be recording a whole bunch of workouts for 2025, and that's not possible right now. Okay, so it's about slowing down. Nothing has gone wrong. How can I meet myself where I am right now and where I need to be right now? Okay, and I think that's a really powerful one. Okay, the next one, all right, is interesting. And it's something that I noticed I started doing more of, but it's really the idea of making decisions coming from your core desires. Okay, and your core desires are how you want to feel. All right, so I would say that this is kind of the mindset shift number 5. How can you make a decision getting out of your head and into your body? You've evaluated every decision for your entire life, and you've done it with your brain. What if you started leading with your heart and your gut? What if you followed those voices? Okay, what would be different about your life? Would you be more satisfied? Okay, what makes you not want to do that? Okay, so I want to challenge you with that. Again, that's total growth mindset. But I always say this, get out of your head and get into your body. Okay, perimenopause is a great time to get out of your head and into your body. If you're out of your head, you can't sit there and judge your body. Okay, if you're in your body, you're just noticing what your body feels like. And if your body doesn't feel good, you can say, hey, listen, I'm low on energy. What can I do to shift the script? How can I change this? Okay, so I want you to start thinking in those terms. And as you can tell from everything we've mentioned so far, perimenopause is a fantastic opportunity. It's almost like a reboot, okay? You're entering this phase where you get to kind of change a lot of things, right? Because nothing's gone wrong, all right? You get to choose what you want, how you want to feel based on your core desire. So I always say that I do a consult with how I want to feel before I make a decision, okay? Because remember, your core desires are how you want to feel. So if I want to feel freedom, I'm going to do a little consult with my freedom to make sure the decision I'm making is in alignment with that freedom, Okay. And I think that's the really cool thing, that we get to use the wisdom that we've accrued over all these years. All right, my friends. So what I want you to start thinking about are, what are some of the mindset shifts that will be very helpful for you as you're transitioning. Let's say you are nowhere near perimenopause, but you can use a transition in your life in some other area. But let's say you are in perimenopause. What can you do to start really embracing this as a very special time, one that will set you up for massive success for years to come? And this way, what's going to happen is we're going to embrace this change rather than pushing it away. And when we push it away, we just are not present in our lives. Okay, and I think we all desire to be present in our lives. So I want you to think about how this time can be one of the most powerful in your life. All right, my friends, as always, I'm super excited to meet you here, to chat with you. Remember, I have Transform 9.0, my 72 CME credit program with an amazing community. So if you're looking for a community, this is the place to be. We are enrolling now. We officially start January 6th. You can check the link in the show notes. And until next time, we'll talk soon.